So, as most of you may already know by now, back home from the hospital and doing much better. I think there's a few things that I'd like to go over that you might benefit from knowing. First, I guess I should just kind of go over my current situation. Going to be meeting with my real estate agent and may go ahead and put my house on the market. Should be able to pull the equity out of here and find a nice place in Houston. The market down there is a little weaker than it is here in Austin, and so I should be able to afford a place that can accommodate my sister and her kids, and even my mom when she's here. She's here pretty much all the time now. So, in the meantime, we'll rent a short-term apartment near the hospital. As for my current health condition, I think everyone's also aware that I'm still recovering from C. diff colitis, along with another infection which I developed after undergoing several surgeries. But now I'm recovering fully. However, the amount of time that I was off chemotherapy kind of gave me the opportunity to satisfy the criteria of the phase 1 trial. I imagine that I still need to get a liver biopsy because they still need to find out if I have the correct tumor marker, but they're telling me there's a good chance. So I'm not getting my hopes up too much, but just kind of preparing myself. C. diff colitis, and it seems that some of you already know a lot about it, is becoming a real serious health issue, and it's due to the widespread use of antibiotics. Seems that a lot of the weaker strains have been killed off and only the stronger ones are proliferating. So thankfully they've developed a newer antibiotic called vancomycin. And there's a few tips I can go over right now for anybody running into this. First, make sure that any other abscesses or infected areas in the perineal area are taken care of while you're on Vanco. It's important because once you have completed the Vanco regimen, you have about a 20 to 25% chance of contracting it again. As for me, I kind of believe that the MRI and physical examinations may have missed a small abscess or infection that later on could have needed draining in another systemic antibiotic. So with the advice of a friend, I went ahead and asked for a week of Augmentin so that these things can possibly resolve themselves. But I'll continue Vanco for another week after that just to kill off all the little bastards. In the event that I do have to take systemic antibiotics again, it's really important that I take an oral vancomycin prophylactic. And that's, again, that friend says that according to a lot of studies, this reduces the chance of reoccurrence from around 25% to 4%. So maybe keep these things in mind or refer to this video if you ever, if you or your loved ones ever have to go through this or something similar. Don't be afraid to reach out to me if you'd like to talk about it. Seem to have had to catch up and found out a lot about it, so don't be afraid to contact me. I also put together some notes after my stay at the hospital, and I think it's pertinent information, especially for anyone who shares my insurance. I don't think my coworkers realize that Little Red Services, that's who my employer is, provides really good insurance. It's a subsidiary of ASRC. We're actually, under the insurance, we're considered federal employees. Seems like the only drawback to that, to me, is that all the providers want to keep you. This might be due to the fact that our insurance is so good and the reimbursement rate is really high. So it's just been my experience when you're seeing different doctors, they want to try to treat you for everything. It's really weird and hard to explain. Anyways, another important thing I want to mention is that you should always pull your records after a hospital stay. After I read mine, I uncovered a lot of useful information. Seems that doctors don't always tell you things that happened or may forget things that could be useful in the future, or just don't offer specifics. For example, my oncologist here in Austin led me to believe that my lesion had only grown by 0.2 centimeters, which is still a small margin, and although it did grow close to that, he never told me the exact dimensions. But as of last Friday when I got my CT, I learned that that lesion stood at 1.3 by 1.2. And if you remember back, that phase 1 trial requires my lesion to be at least 1 centimeter. So I at least satisfy that criteria where it stands right now. So at some point I'll go ahead and put those notes together in an organized way and share those with anyone who might find them useful. I think I said before that the hospital stay was a complete nightmare. Luckily, my mom was able to get there after a few days, and after I was discharged, a whole army of my family came to help resolve issues and tie up loose strings, put out small fires. So I really want to thank my Aunt Pam for coming so quickly, talking with my mom, my Aunt Penny for resolving several issues, and the two of them also helped me work through this real estate idea and offered fantastic opinions and insight. My lovely Aunt Nancy, who's always been there for me with emotional support and comforting. Unfortunately, she herself wasn't feeling very well once she got down here. My sister Sarah, who organized all my medications. At one point, there was like a whole pharmacy going through me. She put them all on a schedule for me. She also gets up in the middle of the night with me to make sure that I'm taking my antibiotics, which are real finicky. Obviously, my mom, who has her hands on everything, whether it's getting my AC fixed, finding groceries, over-the-counter meds. She's also taking care of my dogs, who I've sadly had to give up, and also manages to find time to entertain Ashton. Right now, she's taking him to a Queen concert. Also want to thank everyone at Little Red Services. It's a fantastic company. Right now it's going above and beyond what is required by law. A lot of people don't realize that employers can drop you from their insurance after only about 6 months of FMLA leave. Instead, they've kept me on their insurance, and I haven't had a draw from COBRA. It's a huge benefit that they never really tell you about when enrollment comes around. So when you get sick like this, I've learned that it doesn't take very long for most companies to distance themselves from you. And although I imagine my unemployment is inevitable if I don't get better soon, I still just can't thank them enough for what they've done for me already. But that being said, I know that a lot of guys up there have thought about moving on to somewhere else where there might be higher pay, but I would caution anyone to quit a company that considers you family. There's probably another immediate tip I should tell people, and that's anytime you go to a doctor's visit, just make sure that you're recording every word. There's plenty of apps for every phone out, but the one I use is just called Voice Recorder. You can easily edit from home, and after you put your thoughts together, and you can even come up with some really good questions to play for the doctor later. Another app that's useful when you're dealing with healthcare professionals, because they sometimes prefer quick phone calls to pass along information. The app is called Cube ACR, and for only around $1 a month, you'll be able to record phone conversations automatically from calls by selected contacts. It also has a widget that will allow you to record any conversation at any time. You can even shake the phone whenever there's an important moment, and it'll mark the recording so that you can review it more quickly later. Excuse me. As for my schedule, I might be busy putting all my stuff in storage and moving to Houston probably by July 9th. I have a meeting with Phase 1 people on July 11th. Still plan on going to the family reunion. However, I did have to change my ticket and only stay through the weekend. If you're curious, The phase 1 trial also, again involves CAR T cell therapy, which is proven to cure several different types of blood cancers. And this is how the guy at MD Anderson won the Nobel Prize. So I'll probably take some type of chemotherapy again. And then hopefully they'll pull my white cells from me in order to engineer them, which is a process that could take a few weeks. As I said before, they'll keep me in the hospital after administering the new cells for a while in order to monitor me and all my vitals, imagine. But I can tell you right now, it's not something I look forward to after staying like 4 days here in Austin. But I feel very fortunate because it's rare to qualify for this trial, and that's because I'm an HLA positive individual, which I understand isn't all that common. So I just feel very lucky and fortunate that I both have the insurance to make it this far and the resources and support to go beyond good treatment. Still haven't been accepted into the trial, but we're working towards that. I also feel I have a leg up on most people because being that my close friend is a physician and he specializes in infectious diseases, had I not confided with him, I probably would be going back to the hospital and going through all this over again. I won't mention names, but along with this individual and a few others, I was able to approach my doctor with really good questions and details regarding my symptoms and even possible solutions for them. So I hear a lot of you say that I'm strong, which I won't disagree with, but I will say that anytime you face a health issue like this, the only thing that really matters is the power of your mind and faith that God is watching over you and acting in your best interest. Healthcare is a business, and you really can't afford to rely on assiduous primary care physicians who may not have enough time and information to treat you comprehensively. So please just take matters in your own hands, do things your own way, and try to work for a company that provides good insurance. If you're already doing these things, just go ahead, go straight to the best hospital, because at the end of the day, you're really going to want the best providers. That's all I really have to say for now. I'm still real busy. I'll go ahead and update everyone once we get settled in Houston and I get to talk to my doctor and my phase 1 coordinators. I love you all. I just want to thank everyone for following me through this whole ordeal. But with your help and all these friendly gifts, I really think I'm going to be able to make it through this. I owe you all a debt of gratitude, and as always, I wish I could see you all soon. Thanks.